Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. This is going to be a video all about relics. Now, look, here's the thing. I'm sure there's going to be some people out there wondering like, okay, well, we're getting now relic stuff being kind of first look being put out to the community. Does that mean that everything's all right and rosy with the progression-based system? No. But look, everybody's going to be covering it, all the other content creators, and I kind of feel like if I don't cover it because of some kind of like vendetta against progression-based stuff, then I'm missing out on an opportunity to kind of cover it for the channel. So I just want to do that. But there will be a lot of kickbacks to things with the progression, and there's a lot of things that I don't personally like, including how you're able to, the cost behind the unitary cost behind like refitting Relic, which we'll go over in this particular video. So there's stuff that I like about Relics, but also there's quite a lot that I don't like about Relics as well. In any case, let's just start. Let's just kind of do a first look and first impressions. So how do they exist within the ecosystem of the game? Well, they'll exist in like a tab there. You click on My Relics, and then they kind of factor in as different champions. There does always seem to be like something of like, and it's cool because they like little kind of collectibles, which, you know, I like that. But then this is something extra, an extra type of collectible within the eco space, which means that you'll have to go above and beyond to get these other rare things. If it wasn't trying to get like, it wasn't so hard enough to get something that was favorite champions at higher rarities, you may have to do the same thing when it comes to relics, from what I see so far. You click on the champion and you're able to customize the relic for like the class, I think it is. So therefore you've got the battle class, and we've got the Antman one right here with the relic. Every relic is crafted to represent a striker you can summon to help your champion. Okay, so you select a champion. So we'll select, I don't know, Quicksilver just for the hell of it. And then what you do is you add these extra slots, these rune slots, and you bind things to it. So bind your relic. The last step is to bind the relic with the selected champion. This is the problem when you start like binding these things. I think this is the thing that if you then change certain elements after, it costs you units, but we're going to see that in a minute. So what we're going to do is bind the relic to the champion. So we're going to bind it to that one. But again, that's not the champion I want to use, but I want to again point out some stuff. So yeah, I'm not going to use the that latest go collect embers and alloys from battlegrounds and quests. Gather enough and you'll be able to improve the power of your relic and striker. And again, this points to you will have to do either quests or you will have to do battlegrounds to get what you need to improve your relic, to improve the interaction with the particular lead champion you have it assigned to in any kind of great format. So, relic upgrades, maybe later. You then add your runes based on certain things, like we've got a power sting one there, really handy for the likes of Spider-Ham. That's going to be some footage in a minute. Dan has sent me through some stuff, so I'm going to check out that. You click on the various ones here, like power sting duration up, plus 8% power sting debuff duration. And then we'll just insert that one. Then what else we got? Special attack damage down. Opponent special attack damage. Well, I want to be more on the offensive, so I guess you can make your relic an offensive matter rather than a defensive. I do like the way you can do this, especially when you play other mobile games that have similar features, where you get to create something of a powerful rune, stones. It used to remind me of like World of Warcraft when you were able to socket things. And even though that is kind of like a gearing system, this is and it isn't. And it's a very difficult sell for a lot of people. I do like it, but also I don't like it, because then there's other spins that are very mobile game based that are from monetary aspects or unitary aspects that could cause some kind of like problems. We're going to talk about that more in a minute. And that minute is now. Like, the relic is in its very basic or infancy, and how you need to kind of improve the relic is by ranking up and also upgrading. And this is where it becomes a problem, and I kind of get worried about the way that relics are going to impact on having so much more to do in game and trying to kind of keep up with the pace. I don't think it's going to be like a complete deal breaker and it's going to be really annoying, but it does require a lot more effort. And a game that is really grindy in any case just adds an extra element of grind that's just a bit too, again, extra complexity to things. The same way that Battlegrounds was kind of released in one way, but then turned out to be, you know, something a bit more than it was. And taking away that kind of like, okay, it's more like easier to get on with type elements. So what you'll need in order to upgrade is like these alloys. So we've got relic alloys here. And again, this is the stuff that kind of like concerns me, of like how far you need to go with the relic alloys, and as well the things like relic embers, of how they kind of look to rank up and develop those relics, the amount of content you might have to grind as well that could really kind of make a dampener on this one because of the amount of effort you need in order to get it up to being the best it possibly can be. So before we rank up, you can see in status the Antman right there, the Antman relic, and you can see that it's been assigned to Quicksilver. Now that we've got our items, we can start ranking up the relic. It's such a weird thing, that ranking up the relic, and again we need more, and we need more, and we need more. Now, with all the criticism I do have for this, there are some like good kind of like elements to it. I mean, I'll give you a good example. Like Thor's Battle Cast, which is basically the Thor relic, does give, as it says here, the last hit grants an aptitude buff, increasing the potency of Fury, Armor Up, and Precision buff. So you get a buff. If you've got champions that are very lackluster when it comes to buffs, that could be helpful for some like bit of content. If you've got a champion that maybe only casts at least 2 buffs and needs a third one for likes of buffed up, or you're looking at something for content options, or even making certain champions more beefier than they already are, that can be a positive. I mean, I might even in this video kind of do a King Groot with that particular relic. But that doesn't mean to say that I'm going to give relics just like a great pass and thumbs up right off the bat, especially if we're looking at limited content they're able to be used in, and the content they are used in is competitive elements, which can seem very unfair if again we've got like a lot of like whales have kind of spent to get the best kind of relics, the best, or they're able to get the runes kind of quicker, and it's a case you're kind of scrambling around as a non-spending player trying to get yourself some like resource from different like places. I mean, it makes more sense that they would be added to something on a daily basis, like well, you could get a limited amount from some sort of like mode that's in the daily proving grounds type area, possibly. I don't know, but that's again like something we need to kind of like figure out. It's great to see them in, but the way they're balanced in is going to have to be a real crucial thing as well, and that's going to be taken incredibly seriously. Now, at the start of the video, I did mention something about like the unitary cost, or I've been mentioning the unitary cost, and the thing to watch out for is like over time the extent of like how many units it costs to kind of like unbind a relic to then put it to kind of like a new champion, and that's something that will be somewhat of an issue down the line. It's kind of like masteries really. And again, I find that weird that we haven't had anything like focused on masteries first and mastery loadouts, but this is something that is kind of like where you can bind, unbind something here. So, sorry, more kind of comparatively with decks and battlegrounds, if anything. Now I want to go on and talk about a subject which is the impact of relics. How do relics impact on a champion? Is it something with prestige? Well, there's something with prestige definitely with it, but I'm not sure if it's going to be in the beta. We'll have to see. So just taking like a bit of a visual over like King Groot, for example, which is, you know, my dude. And I'm going to see what it does for the champion when we go out to play with the champion, and what the Thor one does, the Thor relic, and take it from that. Let's go. Now, the question of prestige and the impact of it, and this is the first part of like the impact of these things. Luckily, Kabam put how much it impacts. So, you know, saw on screen right now, that was the champion rating. Yes, champion rating. But in game, which you can see right now, it says Summoner Prestige 15,099, with the relic prestige adding an additional 830. This is something that I'm still a little bit, I'm having a hard time coming to terms with as an extra thing to kind of amplify prestige, as it is a case that it does kind of like give you more things to, it's good to get more things to do in game. It's just, as I said, you're making a grindy game even more grindier because you have to go out and grab relics, and you have to do certain types of content when maybe you're like, well, I don't really want to do that one, but now I have to do that one. So you have to be like, and one thing that I'll probably have to make in another video is you have to be really careful what content you focus on in game in order to make gains, and also kind of reduce that gap between those that extensively whale and those that are free to play, and those that just like, you know, slightly fish out, spend a little bit. So that's going to be something that's going to be quite an important element. In any case, let's take this relic with King Groot into a fight and see how it do. Now, there's some areas you are and are not allowed to use relics. I mean, the current event quest, the previous month, it says no relic. That symbol there means no strikers. Sorry, no strikers. But, you know, let's go into one of the old favorites, which is Realm of Legends. It doesn't say there about the Road to Labyrinth. Labyrinth of Legends is fine. Realm of Legends, you can't do Abyss. Disappointing. I think you should be able to use it for sure in Abyss. So let's begin our fight here with King Groot, and first of all we got the Vigor that's popped up, which is great. Now we need to be aggressive or kind of on the front foot in order to build up our meter, which is kind of like, you know, the crucial thing. Building, especially because we want to be able to get ourselves the what is it called? We want to get the Furies up. We want to get the passive in a second, so I'm just going to fire off there with that. Go into it, get a little stun there so we can play aggressively as well, which again is like the most important thing. We got the aptitude up first and foremost, so whenever I get my Furies, which I've got 10 at the moment, that's going to be beneficial to me. We've got I think is that another aptitude up, which is good. Again, aggressive play, and I guess that's the thing, you need to be as aggressive as possible, which is nice. I do like that. That is very much kind of like my thing. So again, we're going to go back in there. Oh, 2 up. And again, you've got to be hopeful that the AI wants to throw special attacks at you, because I think it's like I've got to have 3. So again, it's a problem with the AI. Like you've got to have the AI throwing for you. If you don't, you're not able to play aggressively. And I guess that could be like a bit of a downside to the rotation of things. Like I could go here like that, and then we kind of go in again. Honestly, I love the fact that when you come out, you got to go into like a stun. So it kind of gives time. But then as soon as you kind of roll out there and the AI is not kind of like playing ball for you, it does become a little bit of a problem. Because again, aggression-wise, we might have to find more of an aggressive play in order to kind of grab ourselves the 3 aptitude in order to really kind of benefit from the relic itself. So that's a bit of an issue there. That will take time and a little bit of training, I think, from my perspective, and as well from many people's perspective, to just kind of like get that aggressive level of play that we might need. Like now, like we're kind of halfway through with that aptitude, and I think I'm going to actually kind of like knock out the champion before being able to get to that next aptitude. Like there, it's really close to get to that next relic, or next kind of third aptitude. But still, like if it's adding that extra potency within it, it's nice. But I think there's going to be like a point of people saying, well, why have we got this? Why are we getting this extra advantage with relics? Because as well, that's what we're getting for players, is putting a relic on your champion is making them perform better. So you kind of go, well, why? That was kind of what the starage system was about. Now, to get like a different perspective of like some of the others, with the Antman one, if you build up, and this is, by the way, shout out to Dan, so Frontline MCC Dan, who I do the podcast with, sent me through this. This is very interesting because this is it being on a spider ham, and the way that it kind of amplifies power stinging with porker poppers, which you're going to see in a second. So porker poppers are activated, they're going to cause a power sting at some stage, or kind of like punish the champion when they throw special attacks. And now you can see that the aggressive nature to this. There's 9 porker poppers on, and we're going to see like a big sting in a minute. Like that was a huge sting. I'm going to have to like wind that back a second. But that was a massive sting of stuff with it. Where was it? There. I've got to like time this in just so we can see this properly. So right there. So there's a 20k, there's a 77,000 and 35k. I don't know if there's anything else. So that's nearly 100k of Porker Popper based damage from that. Again, kind of amplification from that Antman relic. Also, by the way, the text is really, really minute. This is one of the biggest problems that it has at the moment, is that you literally have to kind of like zoom in to try and actually see the text. But look, it does help out with what some of these things are. Power Sting duration, Power Sting debuffs duration, Spike Power Stinger, inflict Power Sting debuff, inflicting a taunt passive, lowering attack rating by X amount. And then as well, there is another one, which is the Twin Stinger, inflict the Power Sting debuff, inflicting additional Power Sting debuff lasting 16 seconds. Also, as part of the ability relic itself, whereas the last hit inflicts Power Sting debuff for 16 seconds. The Awakening side of things is that when a Power Sting debuff deals damage to the opponent, gain the following effects to the rest of the fight. And there's more. There's more, but it just amplifies Power Stinging, which, you know, a lot of champions like Yellow Jacket does, and a few others as well. Final thoughts on the first look of these relics is that I can't give them a massive thumbs up. I can't go like, they're going to be great for this game. The things that I kind of pointed out, like, by the way, I do find them fun. I do like some of the abilities amplifying other things. I like the fact they're fresh. Yes, we do have 7 stars coming in next year, which is not such a fresh idea. But these are kind of like a breath of fresh air when it comes to something new, something different. However, the thing that I need to point out or reiterate again is the problems that I see with them. The problems that I see with them are how they impact on prestige, how whales will go out to buy them and buy the most rarest ones possible in order to get prestige bumpers, ability amplification, the extent of getting those resources, because now we have a new chase set of resources. Relics are like new champions, which does cause a problem as to you will have to do certain pieces of content in order to get certain types of higher rarity relics. And also like the availability to use them and the impact in certain areas. The impact in things like battlegrounds, the impact in not being able to use them in Abyss, which I kind of think is a bit weird that you're not able to use them in some of the content to help clear it, because what are these really for? Are these for amplifying the competitive elements? Are they not? And if they're not, why can't they be used in other areas? I am designing them specifically to interact with other content, with things like Book 2, like the future of Book 2. Is it going to be a case that when this is, like, I don't know, like going into things like Act 9, that it's going to be like, oh, by the way, use this relic and it's going to be a counter. Alright, so I have to use a complexity counter on top of a complexity counter. And when I'm talking about it, I'm like, okay, well, you need a champion to counter this. Oh no, but if you got a champion with a certain relic, you're able to counter it. So again, extra complexity for what is the point again? There's a lot of things, as I said, to kind of like unpack with this. As I said, they are fun, but fun comes with a backstory and an interwoven web of other elements of this game being pulled into it. In any case, that has been it. That's been the first look of Relics. Hope you enjoyed it. Shout out to Dan for the clips and the video, and we'll probably do a podcast on this one at the end of the week, dissecting some stuff that we know, and we'll take it from there. Check out some other content located on screen. Lots of side quest and monthly stuff coming, and streams. See you soon. Bye bye.